Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Spitballing. I'm Matt Taylor here with my good buddy.
Kyle Amundsen.
And again, today we are at the beautiful 502 Marketplace. And this might become our kind of semi-permanent home away from home.
You know, yeah. We until she chases us out of here.
Yeah, it works out nice. She, Tina and Auntie, every week or every time we come over here, I get another message from her and asking me to move some heavy shit. So I told her that the rent had to be a little lighter this time. So it was just a sled. So yeah, we have kind of a fun episode planned today. We are going to do our regular little spitballing, talk a little bit about some of the shit that's been going on. Then we have a good Rushmore. And then we're going to finish up with our first segment of Progressive Preppers.
Yeah.
Which I'm pretty excited about.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to dip our little toes into the prepper YouTube universe.
Yeah, should be fun. So if you watch this episode, you won't need to watch the Progressive Preppers episode because this episode is going to have that one in there. But if you're tired of listening to us for an hour and 45 minutes or whatever we've been doing lately, you can just go ahead and watch that Progressive Preppers episode. It'll be shorter and it'll be fun. And this one's kind of exciting because it's very topical for me anyway. But we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah,
so go ahead.
We'll eventually branch out and have all kinds of shit going on. We'll be like the Tyler Sheridans of the YouTube world.
I don't know who Tyler Sheridan is.
Unless I'm fucking up his name horribly. That's the main creative force behind Yellowstone
and 1883 and the mayor
of Kingstown. And of course the movies, which I just watched one of his movies. I watched Hell or High Water on Netflix.
Okay.
Which was pretty good. Not as good as I really liked Wind River a lot.
I haven't seen that yet, but we've been watching 1883 together, and that's been a real blast.
Dope.
It is a really good show.
Any of you Western fans out there, 1883 will be your shit. It's not Lonesome Dove, but nothing is. It's just super fucking good.
It's pretty good. Did you finish Yellowstone?
Yeah. I watched that. Watched the season finale. Not gonna lie, that whole season kind of left me high and dry.
Yeah, it was a bummer. I liked the final episode. It was pretty good. Got a little teary during the wedding, but it was just like
the wedding. The wedding kind of pissed me off because spoiler.
Fuck it.
Yeah, don't listen to this part. But I'm sure. But if you watch Yellowstone, I think Yellowstone fans are fucking rabid enough that I was probably the last person to watch it. I want to make it all legal and official and all that. Well, great. So do that, but RIP doesn't exist on paper.
Well,
we've
it wasn't
so
that much that she wanted to make it legal. She wanted to make it official. I don't know. I got a kick out of it though. I got a kick out of when he says, "Honey, you can't wear that dress to your wedding," and she goes, "Don't worry, Daddy. I won't have it on long." It's like, Jesus
I love that. He's always like, We're not buddies.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to remember that I'm your father.
I'm your father. Yeah.
I do enjoy that.
It's a pretty good one. But all in all, dud of a season. I think they've run out of story to tell. But I do like the 1883. I'm really
oh my god, it's so good, and I'm really a big fan of Mayor of Kingstown too.
Yeah, I've only watched 3 episodes of that, and it's good.
I was talking to my buddy Luke. They're big Yellowstone fans and big 1883 fans, and they came over for a little while last night and picked up some furniture. And I was like, "Have you watched Mayor of Kingstown yet?" He messages me first thing this morning, and he's like, "We got home and watched 4 episodes."
Oh, Jesus.
And I'm like, "How about this?" And we got into that whole and what about this scene? Yeah, what about that? And fucking, oh man. It's completely like Mayor of Kingstown. It's such a radical departure from the rest of the stuff that they do. There's no rodeo. And it's
very urban
and burnt out fucking Michigan town and like a lot of towns in Michigan.
Pretty interesting that they're kind of taking on the prison industrial complex in that way.
Yeah.
But it's not coming off preachy at all. They're really
No.
showing kind of the kind of the gritty how the sausage is made.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I forgot that I fucking am supposed to set you on the other side because it just kills my neck when I turn this way.
We'll take
Too
a
late
short
now.
break.
Yeah. So you wanted to talk a little bit about a book that you recently read.
Oh man!
And a great review you wrote.
Well, I'm going to write a review.
Oh, you haven't yet?
No, I haven't.
Oh.
There's a review that I read. Now in the book, it's actually a trilogy. It's 3 of the guys' books, and that's unfortunate because it's still only like 16 hours long or whatever.
Right.
I won't be
barely worth a credit.
Yeah, I like the guy's writing. I like this author, but I can't spend a credit. Even though I hoard them, I probably got 6 right now. But I can't spend my credits on
a 5-6 hour book.
Yeah, I can't fucking do it.
Yeah. So all of you authors out there that are very successful writing these books that are listening to the podcast, do yourself a favor. And if you are going to write short books, you got to fucking bundle them, or else people like us who are avid Audible listeners just won't make the plunge. I anything less than 8 hours is really tough for me to spend a credit on.
Like I'm hoarding credits so that I can get all the way through like a Bernard Cromwell series. And his shit's like 11, 12 hours.
Yeah, 11, 12 hours, and he's so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's got a few of them out there that are relatively short, 5 or 6 hours, and they're the only things by him I haven't read or listened to. You know what I mean? The only things. I think I'm complete.
Credits are valuable.
Yeah. Well, fuck yeah. You know.
And so I was, so I'm looking through stuff to. And I'm able to hoard them because I listen to stuff on YouTube and I listen to like free stuff. And,
I should look on YouTube. I can never remember to do that.
Well, and then what if I'm writing a lot of times I'm like in my own head and I'm not fucking trying to listen to anybody else's story and shit, you know?
Yep.
Which is weird because I've been consuming so much. But I'll just take a break and, for my own creative purposes.
Right.
And, so I'm looking at these books. I'm looking at reviews on this book because it sounded good. This guy's an ex-Marine. The title is it's the Devil Dog Trilogy. And the very first I was in the very first review that I read was the narrator is awesome. It's the same guy that does the Borrowed World.
Oh, the Horton books?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I do like him.
He's good. He's just pretty straight.
Yeah.
Straight. I mean, he's reading you a fucking book. He's not, his voices aren't crazy.
Yeah, you're not going to be blown away like, whoa, I can't believe that was...
The only thing is he did the Mad Mick series, and he cannot do a fucking Irish brogue to save his life. But
I heard that
it wasn't
on,
horrible.
When the Mad Mick showed up in the Borrowed World, in the other books.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, no, not good. But what do you like? I can't do accents either. Like I'd be fucked.
Right, but if you're gonna be a professional reader, you might want to get it. I mean, when we had Chad on, he spent countless hours trying to figure out how to do a female Welsh brogue, so it's like, put your fucking work in. But there are some people that just can't do it.
And I can't believe at one point, cause I actually asked Chad at one point, I'm like, I think I would be good at this, because I've got a good voice and stuff like that. And he's like, yeah, he was encouraging. He probably wanted to tell me what I later found out for myself after I consumed enough audiobooks and stuff. It's way fucking harder than just having being comfortable with your voice and having good diction and stuff. I can't do any fucking accents. All the women would have one voice. Hello, this is my female voice, and that would be it. Why did I sound like Mary?
Everybody's Mrs. Doubtfire.
Right? You, but Geneva Doubtfire. But yeah, I couldn't fucking do that shit. That's hard. So anyway, but back to the review. The guy says the narrator was awesome, but I strongly dislike the writer's liberal digs portraying Republicans as ignorant, inbred, murdering thieves. And of course, it's spelled fucking horribly. And there's no capitalization, whatever, no punctuation. Awesome. Portraying Republicans as ignorant, inbred, murdering thieves. The writer also does this in other books. Get a clue. Most preppers are God-fearing Republicans. Okay. Now,
nothing. No 1-star review has ever made you want to buy a book so bad.
Yeah, I was like, I'm fucking definitely buying this book. And then the whole way through this book, I'm waiting and waiting for him to say anything fucking political. I'm waiting for his fucking digs. Because this guy, like, he kills people in Chicago, in Michigan, in fucking Nebraska, in fucking, he, like, all over the, like, he's on this big fucking murder tour. Okay, it's not a murder tour. He, like, the guy is all about, like, he can't turn his back on, like, women and children in need, basically, is his fucking thing. And so he, like before he even, like, leaves Chicago, he, like, busts up this, like, fucking slavery ring and stuff like that. That's
okay.
So I go through this whole fucking book, and also, they do a great job. Like, this guy has a raging case of PTSD,
Yeah.
and some accompanied by some, like, other mental health issues. And you know, in all these books, every veteran in all these fucking books always has PTSD, but they just mention his PTSD, and then they, like, basically never get back to it. This guy's is fucking crippling. I mean, it's like a character in the book, you know. He does such a nice job. Like, he doesn't just fucking, like, yep, PTSD, you know, and then not fucking reference back to it or anything like that, like a lot of these authors do. This guy fucking struggles and struggles and struggles to keep his shit together, and fucking it's fucking great. Like, I enjoyed this guy's writing, but after reading the review, I kept waiting for the digs and stuff. You know what it was? Finally, he comes across some murderous hillbillies, and one of them is wearing a "Make America Great Again" hat.
That's it.
That's it.
He's portraying all Republicans as murderous thieves.
Yep, because the guy's got a MAGA hat on. And I'm like, oh, yeah, no wonder he's mad. It's like, after this guy's killed fucking black people and Hispanic people and white people and fucking all walks of life and all these fucking, like, all these murderous assholes. He's killed all these people. Finally, he comes across some hillbillies that are murderous and thieving. And one's got a MAGA hat on. Now, why did he mention the MAGA hat? Maybe that was a dig. It was one fucking thing. And if you can't envision some of those fucking people, like, being murderous and thieving hillbillies, well, you know, let's get together. Well, fuck, you know, like, I'll introduce you to some murderous fucking thieving hillbillies with MAGA hats on. Fuck me. But I was like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? And finally, I got to that part, and I'm like, oh, you know, because, like, the guy was really fair, you know, like, he talks about, like, some misguided social programs, and you know, like, but he doesn't spend a lot of time on politics and stuff like that. It's just a good, like after the apocalypse fucking story, you know.
Interesting.
And I recommend it. Like I said, the Devil Dog Trilogy, and you know, it's a good read. But that fucking guy, the guy that sold me on the book, because he's a fucking idiot, and there's, you know, and of course it's an anonymous one, because I just wanted to post on there, like, this guy's a fucking moron. You should check the book out for yourself and tell me what you think, you know. But I will be writing a review, you know. But that guy sold me on the book.
I have never written a review, which is really weird.
I've written a few, but I haven't written one in Audible yet.
Yeah, you know, when you get done with it, it asks you every time, do you want to read a review, or do you want to write a review? And I never do, which I feel like I should, because, man, I really like a lot of books, but fuck, I just...
Yeah, well, and I kind of feel bad, because I'm like, man, I should fucking, you know, like, I decided when I find the time, I'm going to go do one on Horton.
Yeah.
You know, like, one, like, because I really, dude, you know, how many hours of enjoyment have I got from those books? Which I didn't think that I was going to enjoy that much when I first started listening to them, but the more I listened, I'm like...
I don't want to spoil our progressive preppers, but I just went back and listened to the beginning, first 3 books of The Borrowed World in the last little bit here, because it's about a guy who it takes a trip, and on his trip he has a get home bag, and it comes into play very much in the story, and that's what we're going to talk about on Progressive Preppers today. And I listened to it again, and I'm like, fucking A, is this guy a pretty goddamn good writer? I don't listen to books more than once very often. And when I do, I a lot of times am like, yeah, it wasn't as good as I thought it was the first time or whatever. Dude, not the case. And there's 2... So I'm reading this fucking book about the end of the goddamn world, right? And there's one, and I don't want to wreck anything in the book, because I really think you should read the series or listen to the series, really, because I think the reader is excellent. but it's a fucking apocalyptic book, and like I expect to have to take some time off to cry. And in the end of the first book, he's telling the story about how his grandfather, who is not alive in the book, but is kind of a voice in the book, and he keeps telling him to toughen the fuck up. He's like, he can hear his grandfather's voice saying, shit's changed now. You got to toughen the fuck up.
He's the voice of toxic masculinity. If you're woke.
Exactly. You know what? It's like 100%. He is. And then there's a scene in the end of the book where his grandfather has a stroke and is dying, and the main character is 15, and his grandfather asks him to bring him a gun so that he can kill himself. And
That's a big fucking spoiler.
Fucking lost it, dude. It's really not though. It's an appendices.
No, it's not. It doesn't have shit to do with the story.
But fuck. And I remember the first time I listened to it, it fucking hit me so hard.
Yeah, we talked about it.
I was like, oh.
and we talked about it again the last time you read the book.
And then I read it again, and I was still fucked up over it.
It's good writing.
And then the next goddamn book, Buddy fucking, gets into a fight with coyotes, and I got all fucked up over that one too again. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, 2 books in a row, I'm bawling like a bitch.
And the way he writes like the relationships and stuff in there, like the interactions between these people, I'm like, man, I really like the dialogue and stuff. I really like, and I found a lot of that in that Devil Dog book, because the people that he travels with and stuff, they go through a lot together, and they establish really close relationships, and then like they can actually they can fuck with each other about certain things and stuff that like normally would not.
You had mentioned about when in your writing, like that you feel sometimes like you don't give enough description of the character, but then when you were reading Horton, you realized you actually don't know. You don't know what color anybody's hair is. You don't know.
I don't know what color these people are. I can guess.
Don't even know their race.
Yeah, you don't fucking. He doesn't spend any fucking time on it.
I like envision, because I kind of like put actors into people's places a lot of times, especially if I don't get a lot of description in the book, which pisses me off if farther down the line they tell me his hair's red. You know what I mean? Like if you're going to give me a key element of somebody's appearance, you got to give it to me fairly up front.
You know what?
Or else I fill in with that.
I got to take note of that, because I was planning on like for the story that I'm writing right now, I was planning on just like filling the stuff in as I go. But really, that makes sense.
No,
that could fuck with.
It actually makes me angry, because I'm like, no, goddamn it,
makes great sense.
He's definitely black, and he's definitely played by whatever. I can't change that now. I always think of Lloyd as kind of. I think Lloyd is like who's the great black actor who plays God all the time? Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman.
I have him as like a young Morgan Freeman, very much. So that's kind of so like it's. In writing, like it's either you have to give that description and then up front, or you have to not give that description at all. And he does a great job of never really pinning down like what people look like.
Yeah, because I was sweating that a lot before I started my story and stuff, and then I started reading those, and I was like a couple books in before I realized he had yet to describe anyone.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh well, shit, there I go.
That's pretty awesome. So speaking of books and writing, we, as everybody probably knows because we blab about it all the time, we've been working on our creative writing project, and I have been on fucking fire lately. Nice. And have written, I don't even know how much, but I'm getting pretty deep. And I messaged you about it, but fuck it, we'll talk about it on here. I'm finally ready to introduce my protagonist, and I've been really struggling with like what I wanted to do with it, and I kind of know my antagonist, my bad guy.
I got you.
What is a bad guy? Antagonist. Did I say protagonist in my message to you?
Yes.
I get those two confused.
Because I was like, which one?
Fiction, nonfiction. Fuck it, I don't know. Protagonist, antagonist. I don't fucking know. Yes, my bad guy. Okay.
I just figured they were talking about Casper, because like the other guy seems like he's destined for a sidekick role. We talked about that.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to wreck anything, but it's very Fafford and the Grey Mouser for those those old fans of sci-fi.
If you know your way around Lankmar.
But So
that was a deep cut.
that was a deep cut. Like, maybe Sam got it, and then that's about
Right.
it. But so it's like I want like a larger than life bad guy, right? But I wasn't quite sure how to like make him like interesting enough to like what's his hook, right? And then
So you emailed Gary Oldman.
Actually, kind of. Actually, interesting you mentioned that. I just watched that clip from The Professional the other, where he's like,
Nice.
everybody. And then I was listening to a podcast, weird, a Daryl Cooper podcast, and it was actually he's got the Substack that I subscribe to, so it's like he just does short little it was like a 45-minute discussion about whatever the fuck you want to talk about, and it was a book review, and so you're supposed to like get this book and read it and then like follow along with him. I could literally listen to the guy talk about like his poop and like for 45 minutes and I'd be completely content. I had no idea what he was talking about, but I was super enjoying it. But he was talking about how when you went from an agrarian societies to like more structured societies, how like the leadership went from like a leadership of personality to a leadership of like structure, right? So it's like it's not necessarily that the mayor has authority, the office of mayor has authority. Where back in an agrarian society, that's not how it worked. Like your voice was only as powerful as you were, right? And people would only do what you like told them to do as long as you projected that power. And how back then you could really change. You could have like really powerful leaders, where it gets harder and harder to become an actual demagogue these days. Though Trump gave it his all, and I thought so. I was thinking about that, and my character, my bad guy, is like a big giant kind of. Think of him as like a WWE kind of guy. I don't want to wreck anything, but I'm gonna tell you a line out of it. So as they see him approaching, right? David, who is one of my good guys, who's this small mousy guy, and Casper, who's this giant MMA fighter guy. David is watching him on the screen, and he says something to the extent and David like swears like constantly, and he says something to the extent of like holy fuck, is that the Ayatollah of rock and rolla? and Casper's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So kind of so it was a little throwback. But yeah, and I was like, well, okay, so why is this guy like so over the top? And the reason is that he's trying to project this image, and he's doing it completely thoughtfully, because he's like very intelligent. He's very well read. He was like a professor of history. He has all this like background, but nobody knows that. Like they just think he's like the big thug, right? And yeah, so I thought that was fun. So that gives him this like oh, I get it, And there's a whole religious thing to it, and he's not religious, but he is taking advantage of the faith and all of that, because he was actually a little bit of a biblical scholar and all of that. So I think it's going to be interesting. It's also going to be really hard to write, because it just means a hell of a lot more research. Every time I start opening another door to like, oh, I want him to be this. Well, guess what? I am not a fucking biblical scholar, and I don't know, so now I got to do a bunch more fucking reading, but it's fun.
Every time I sit down to write, I'm like, really? I'm like, do I really want to fucking do research on someone that is barely going to appear in the air? But I'm like, well, yes, I do.
Yeah, it ends up being super fun to do, but it slows down the writing process. Some advice I was given, and I think it's good advice, is to not let your research get in the way of your writing. Just write and research, and then go back and fill in the research. Because, especially if you're, never don't write if you can. If you're stuck and you need to go do research to like get you to the next spot, do that. But if you can write, if it's flowing, just let it flow, even if it sucks. you can fix that shit later. So that's the advice I was given, and I think it's good. Yeah. So I know we left everybody hanging last episode on a cliffhanger, the first ever
Indeed.
spitballing cliffhanger, and I feel like the story's not that great.
But fortunately, today we're talking about rage, and we're not even talking about my rage that much. Matt's got some rage stories.
I was telling the story, but when we ran out of time last time, that I went to get my my oil changed at a local oil change place, and I'm not gonna say the name of the place, but I love it. And though I don't really know why I'm not going to, because they didn't do anything wrong, but well, they were a little bit. Well, anyway, so I pull up and I'm going to walk in, and it's cold as fuck, of course, because it's the middle of the winter here, and I'm probably listening to something, but not paying any attention. You have my jawbones on, and I start walking past this car that's kind of parked like in front of the store, like in a weird way, and this lady yells at me, and she's like, "Hey!" And I was like, "What? Like, fuck, what?" And she's like, "You work here?" And I was like, "No, I don't. Sorry." And I was like, "Ooh, of course." I thought it was fucking weird. And I go walking past, and I go into the store. Now, this bitch is still in her car, right? And I go walking past, and I walk in there. And then...
And before you get mad, listen to the story. She is a bitch.
Yes. So she follows me through the door, like the door closes, and then she opens it after me and comes in. And I was up at the counter already, and I was like saying, "Yeah, it's 97, whatever." And she's like, "Hey," and I'm like, "What the fuck?" And she's like, "Thanks for opening the door for me." And I was like, "Excuse me?" And she's like, "Yeah, thanks for opening the door for me." And I was like, "Yeah, I didn't realize you were behind me." And she goes, "Oh yeah, sure you didn't." And I'm like, I'm fucking punching a bitch. I am like, it was a ooh, right? And I was like, it fucking bugs me. And this is what pissed me off more than anything. She was a black lady. And I was like, "Listen here, you fucking bitch. You think that I wasn't going to hold the door for you because of the color of your skin? I'm not going to hold the door for you because you're a fucking cunt. That's the problem. You have a little cuntiness going on." And I am just boiling with rage. And the incredibly good staff there.
So you were assuming that she was assuming.
Yeah, and maybe I was wrong. Maybe I just didn't hold the door for her, because, whatever. But it was like, it just bugged the piss out of me. And the very nice guy sitting behind the counter, he literally, he was like, "Just go." like I got you. Right. And so I just turned around and walked out, and they took care of me, and it was wonderful. But I was fucking very upset. I was upset for hours, stomping around, and yeah, it just makes me so mad. It's like
shitty, unreasonable people.
Yeah, just don't be a shitty, unreasonable person. Just I think John Howard said it best. Like what Jesus said in the Bible. Don't be a dick. I think that's really good advice. So you had a little rage incident.
Yeah.
God, I'm fucking mad right now.
I'm in the parking lot. What the hell? I don't know, like Cub Foods or something. And I'm coming down the aisle. I'm coming down very slowly. It's snowy and shitty out. And I see, there's a truck backing out of a really good spot close to the front. Even though I go to the gym and fucking sit on the treadmill and fucking do cardio, I still will park as close to a fucking building as I can to save myself that walk, because I'm one of those.
I think it might be you I tried to run over.
Could be. So I'm creeping along, and this truck is backing painfully slowly out of this spot. But you know what? It's a busy parking lot. Be fucking slow and careful. That's better than fucking the alternatives. And and more people walking are assholes too. All the time. And so I'm like, okay, fucking, waiting for him to get out, So, and he's probably old. It looked like he was old the way the herky-jerky, slow-ass style he was driving. So I'm stopped waiting for him. And he backs out, and then he starts to drive away. And I'm like, okay, cool. And but there's a lady coming from the other way. So I wait to see if she's pulling in there.
Okay, wait a second. So you're going this way, and
yep.
the
I'm
slots are going
yeah,
with you.
No, it's like their parking lot. Like it's not.
Oh, it's one of those shitty parking lots.
Yeah, they're all even. Like
I hate that.
And so she had just as much right, but like he's on my side. Like the spot was on my side, but I'm like looking at her, and she doesn't have like. So I'm looking at her, and I'm like, is she turning into this spot? Because I'm just creeping forward, waiting to see what she's going to do, and then I'm like, okay, must be good. So I signal, and then I slowly turn into the spot. And as I'm turning into the spot, I see her like fucking like yelling at me inside her car and gesturing and shit like that. Obviously really fucking pissed off. And I'm like, well, you can go fuck yourself. And I'm like, okay, she's obviously mad about that. And I gave her every fucking opportunity to pull in there. And then I'm like, if only there was some way. Maybe they should build something into your car that allows you to communicate your intention to other drivers, at least your intention of going one way or the other. What would you call it?
Like a signal.
Some way to
like to signal
to other drivers.
Yeah, which way you're going to go. Yeah.
And that would have solved the whole fucking problem because I'm standing there, I'm sitting there in my car looking at her and nothing. So when I pull in, she's mad. How could we have possibly solved that?
Yeah.
I'm going to invent a device for vehicles that would solve that
You'll
problem.
make millions.
I think so.
Like some kind of like maybe bullhorn or a
something,
or a turret.
Like maybe a finger, that like I'm doing this or whatever, like I don't know, something. And I'm like, I was like, God damn it, like I should tell that lady, hey, did I not give you enough opportunity? Like, why? How about fucking signaling or something, But then I'm like, as a man and as a fucking burly, weird-looking man, like, I don't feel like I can say, like, I don't want to make this person feel threatened or whatever. I save that for her husband when he flips me off and fucking going down the road or something. But I don't want to the last thing I want to appear is menacing.
Yeah, I don't get that. So, like, when I get angry, like, it doesn't matter to me what or who you are.
Like, man, woman, or child.
Like,
you asshole, you're going to fucking pay.
I mean, and it doesn't matter if it's a giant human who, like, I have no business fucking with, or a tiny grandma. I'm just pissed. And, yeah, so... Yeah. I haven't beat up any tiny grandmas lately. So did it resolve okay? She never got out of the car and tried to... No. In fact, I was like, is that her? Like in the store, I like ran. I'm like, is that her? I think that's her. And I wanted to say like, hey, by the way, but I once again, no matter how meekly you like approach someone, you don't know how they're gonna fucking react, Like, yeah.
And like, if it was,
and dude, if I was like a woman and you come anywhere close to me, I'm just gonna mace you. So within 10 feet, I'm just spraying. And it's good,
especially if you're not a stranger. Oh, fucking Kyle, what's up? Oh, I thought with the mace you didn't recognize me. No, the mace is because I recognize you, motherfucker.
So the other day was 18 below, and just crazy. And I don't know, but my fucking Land Rover, the heat in it just sucks. And I guess that's like apparently a Land Rover thing. They just have shitty heat. Like fucking, they're like, oh, we're British. We don't really need you to like survive it. Fucking. So I'm in my fucking truck, and I am literally fucking wondering if I'm getting frostbite on my feet. I'm so cold, and I'm wearing boots, and I'm in the Walmart parking lot, which it's fucking Walmart. And so I go around, and now at least...
Dodging shopping carts.
At least the Walmart parking lot has got the slots, So, like, I'm going south, and there are slots, So I, like, whatever. And this person in front of me, I don't know if it was a man or a woman, was waiting to pull into a slot. Waiting because there was somebody with a giant cartload of shit coming up to the fucking car. And I was like...
Wow.
I was like...
Who's got that kind of time?
I was like, nope, that's not going to work for me. So I just kept creeping up on the person.
Okay,
and I can see
that's
her.
excessive. I might take a lap, but I'm not going to fucking sit there waiting for somebody to put their shit away. God damn.
like, and of course, I mean, the Land Rover's not giant, but it does have a big wooden bumper that I made with a giant piece of steel sticking out of it. And I was just like, I'm going to push her. Like, that's it. And if I do push her, I'm then going to wait here and take her fucking spot. Right? I am fucking fuming. So I get within a half an inch of her car before she, like, and I mean, I see, okay, it was definitely a woman. Because I see her doing this thing in the rear view. She's like looking up, looking over, looking up, looking over, looking up, looking over, looking up, looking over.
No offense,
and
ladies.
I'm like,
some of you drive better than me, but a lot of you drive like shit.
And I was just like, I seriously, I'm going to ram you. And then, unlike you, I could give two shits where I park. Farther away, the better. I just want to get the fuck out of that vehicle, and I want to get into that store so that I can have line rage when I'm in that fucking line waiting for that dumb person in front of me to get their goddamn chains out. But very bad. But anyway, she did end up moving, and then I didn't take her spot. I just parked a half a mile away. But yeah, it was not good. But yeah, I don't know why I've been getting so angry. Okay, honestly, it's fucking really cold.
Dude, yeah, the other day, I fucking went to the gym the other day, and I'm like, it's 37 fucking below. 37 below. I'm like,
yeah.
Take the day off, Kyle. Like, no. What does Kyle do? Fucking goes to the gym. Had a good workout, though. Then the next day it was nicer out. I took that fucking day off. I'm like, man, fuck that. I'm like, yesterday it was 37 below. I deserve this.
Yeah, I get really, really crabby when I'm cold, and it really affects my, like, the way that I treat people.
That's how I'm about the heat. But I mean, a lot of people
I can
like
see that with in the heat.
Yeah.
But I mean,
that's why I like heat, like crime
the
sprees
crime
and shit
rates
like
go
that.
up. Yeah. Actually, crime rates I think drop when it's really cold because nobody wants to go outside and fucking shoot people.
Oh my god! So, did you see the thing that I wrote? It wasn't actually me. This happened to Christine. So it was a gentleman. It was cold, like on the other day when it was cold as fuck. This guy like comes up to her car while she's waiting at a stoplight. It's a native guy with a guitar, and I'm like, "What the fuck's the guitar for? It's fucking freezing out. You're not playing on a street corner or something. Like, what the fuck? Like, why? Anyway,
with fucking choppers."
Right? He must be very good. So he comes up and he's like, "Hey, where's the liquor store?" And she's like, right there. Like literally, it was fucking like 2 stores away. She's like, right there. And he's like, good. And he starts to walk away, and he's like, do you have a couple dollars to support the homeless? And she's like, no. and she's like, this shit was ridiculous. And she messages me.
He led with liquor store?
Yeah. So I put the story on Facebook, but I didn't mention that it happened to her because she's a good person, and I'm like, oh, I'm a piece of shit, so I'll write it like my way. So I'm like, next time, like, get the order right. I was like, okay. I'm like, next time, ask for the money for the homeless, in quotation marks, before you ask for directions to the liquor store.
Right.
I'm like, if you can't get the order right, Darwin says you should freeze to death hungry and sober.
Yeah.
And
nothing's worse than freezing to death sober either.
Right. And, it did not get a lot of likes. I think people might have been horrified. But I was like, man, you know what? I was inviting an argument, though. I'm like, okay, argue with me then. Like, do you feel like I should have given him, like, do you feel like someone should give him money at that point if he's on his way to, like, you already know he's on his way to the liquor store?
And the thing is it's like, it's just bad salesmanship. It's not that I have any opposition to giving somebody money for liquor.
No, I'm a sucker for fucking like panhandlers. Fuck that. I'm a sucker for that shit. I'll come home with no fucking money in my wallet because I fucking all right. Now, and what did they do right? They just didn't tell me that they were on their way to the liquor store.
Yeah. It's just you can't reward bad salesmanship.
Yeah,
that's the part that bothers me.
And really, like, if you're that bad at it, like, I mean, and I didn't mention Darwin to be an asshole. I mentioned Darwin because, well, your genes should not be passed on. It's that simple.
I never give to anything. I'm not a very good person, except I really like when you're in the line and they say, do you want to round up to like to get rid of your fucking change? I will give to anybody.
God.
Because I just don't want the fucking change. And I don't want them to take the time to count the goddamn change. Just take it. I don't give a fuck.
I don't want to risk dropping some change and having to pick it up.
Oh, no, I'll just... if they give me change back, like if I go through the drive-thru, I'll like throw it in like whatever's there. And if they don't have one, I'll just pretend there is one. I hate change. I mean, I'll keep a quarter now and again, but yeah, nickels and dimes.
I don't ever use fucking
pennies.
cash. I only keep cash on hand to tip.
I only have cash because I work at the bar and get
Makes
tips,
sense.
so I have cash. So I pay with cash. But it sucks. Yeah. So I'm like, if you want to round up, so they say, do you want to round up to the nearest dollar? Yes. I don't even need to know the cost. That's it.
I'm a sucker for giving shit, like even like fucking even the bell ringers and shit. But like, does that make me a good person? Fuck no. No amount of like you can't erase. You know how much money it would fucking take for me to give to bell ringers and shit like that? You know how much fucking like change and cash and all that shit I would have to carry around to erase like 1 week worth of fucking evil that I've done in my life? Like no, that's just not realistic.
I one time I got in trouble. I was married to Jess at the time, and she was usually pretty tolerant of my anger, but she didn't like me being angry toward Christmas, and I was really negative toward Christmas. Anyway, and one time I told Peyton, I gave him $20, and I told him, go up and tell that bell ringer he can have the $20 if he stops ringing that fucking bell until I get out of this store. And Peyton just took the $20 and started to walk off, and Jess grabbed him. That kid is a trooper. He'd do whatever.
Man.
And I can just imagine him. He was probably 6, 7. He would have walked up and he would have been, my dad wants you to shut the fuck up until he gets out of the store. Here's $20. That bell ringer should have done it. Yeah.
Oh shit!
I'm not the best person. I just get fucking funky around Christmas. I just get like, though I had a great Christmas this year. Thank you guys for having me over. It was super fun, and it was like, it's just like grill and chill, you know?
Yeah.
What did Christine say? Sweatpants Christmas?
Yeah.
It's perfect.
I do like that. I like the holidays and stuff. I like them just fine. Yeah, they're not. I mean, traditionally, like I don't know. I've had more fun on like St. Patrick's Day and shit. You know, like
that's not a holiday.
like,
that's an excuse for drunken revelry.
Yeah, that's also true. But fucking, and how many run-ins with the law can one have on one particular day with it before you just decide I'm going to stay home? But
yeah, usually St. Patty's Day I work, and it usually is a really good day. So, and I love me some corned beef and cabbage.
God, I can't fucking stand corned beef.
Oh, you're fucking kidding me,
dude! I'll tell you. You know, like I'm very, you know,
you
Irish,
think it's too spicy?
but like I fucking no. Like if there's one, if there's one civilization, if there's one society, if there's one nationality, you can like steer clear of their fucking food, it would probably be the Irish.
Yeah, or the English.
Like, you know, yeah, nothing good comes from that island, like culinary wise. You know, like. Yeah, enjoy your corned beef and cabbage. Oh, and we'll chase it down with some fucking haggis. You know, like what the fuck?
Yeah.
No, not an island of deliciousness.
Though I would like to go to England, but I just want to eat Indian food because they have the best Indian food in the world.
That makes sense.
Apparently, better in India. I mean, there's all of the great. Well, I don't know if it, but many of the greatest Indian chefs have gone to England, and I guess it's very, very big there. I don't know if Brexit's fucking that up, but whatever. Who knows? Okay, what else do you want to talk about in this segment? Anything else? And then should we get on to Mount Rushmore? I feel like we're...
Do I have anything? I don't really.
Yeah.
Let's take our break.
I think we got a great Mount Rushmore this time.
Good.
So I did a little thinking on this one, and I think we've kind of covered this a little bit in the past, but never with Mount Rushmore. So again, the rules of the game are that one of us comes up with a Mount Rushmore, and I have had time to prepare my list, but Kyle only has until I get done taking a piss to come up with his list. So my Mount Rushmore this time is...
I hope your prostate problems are flaring up.
The Baddest Bad Guys.
Oh, shit.
Yep. film or series?
Baddest, like the most despicable and evil, like,
Baddest, yeah.
or just like baddest, like just the
Scary,
best, most memorable.
yeah. Well, I guess best, most memorable. The ones that, like, and maybe ones that like you kind of like.
That's easy to do.
All right, sounds good.
Of film?
Film or series, because I both.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. All right, sounds good. We'll be back in just a minute. Welcome back to Spitballing, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Matt Taylor here with my good buddy
Kyle Amundsen.
and our Mount Rushmore, the baddest bad guys. I always forget who starts.
I think I start.
Okay.
Now I skipped some bad guys. Like there's some bad guys like I mentioned, like Prince or later King Joffrey from Game of Thrones, who like that kid was great, and I really wanted him to die screaming, and he was very, very bad, but he just wasn't cool.
Right.
And you got to be kind of cool or menacing or like like to be a like an epic fucking villain.
Yeah, the best thing he did was die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that could have been way worse. I mean, way better. But so I've got a list, including a crazy horse. Now, the first one on my list, but but these are in no particular order.
Right.
First one on my list, the first one that pops into my head is a character portrayed by Clancy Brown in the 80s classic Highlander.
Oh,
the Kurgan.
The Kurgan. Goddamn, good one. Very good one.
The Kurgan was fucking dope. He was scary, he was big, he was mean, and he had some fucking cool lines.
Yeah.
Which is so important.
Yeah, bad guys got to have good lines.
Happy Halloween, ladies. Wait, I have something to say. It's better to burn out than to fade away. Fucking,
I was just thinking about Phil Holbrook back in the day. He made a movie. He and Jeremy Doyle made a movie, and they did it through a GoFundMe. And one of the prizes, like they had different levels, and if you gave whatever it was, $50 or $100 or whatever, you could get them to act out any scene of any movie, and they had to do some really funny scenes, so like they would play all of the characters in whatever scene they were doing, and man, some of that shit was really good. And that would be kind of fun for us to do. Well, we should do a challenge like that.
Fucking the thing about Highlander, was Highlander the best movie ever made? Of course it was. No, hands down. That's not
you're talking about Highlander 3.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. There's only that one Highlander.
There could be only one.
Else happened. But if there's one movie that I know legitimately, word for word, it is Highlander. It's fucking, especially the Kurgan's fucking lines, man.
I just thought of a crazy horse.
Nice, good.
Yeah, very good one. Oh, okay. One more point on that. I've been thinking about doing some skits, right?
Yeah.
And I just had I had an idea for a skit for us based on one of your Facebook posts. You posted something about needing new gloves.
Oh,
right. And you were looking for.
I was trying to figure out what everybody else, because I've gone with the whole like neoprene glove, like inside choppers.
Yeah.
Which is like old school technology, and I'm like, is there something new that I don't know about?
Well, there is, and I was thinking we could take them on as a sponsor. They are the Hoth Tonfa gloves. So the idea was I was going to get these big choppers, these big furry white choppers, and then I'd be like, yeah, and they're just wonderful. And then you like stick your hand in it, and it'd be all full of like goo, and you pull it out guts and shit. Oh, it's so warm. And
how do you keep them on your hand? You just hang on to Luke.
Yep. Anyway, that was kind of funny. Okay, so the first one on my list is Sheriff Little Billy Daggett, played by Gene Hackman in The Unforgiven.
Oh, God damn it.
Yeah, I had to look up his name. I couldn't remember.
He is so good. I mean, in fucking A, Gene Hackman just killed it.
Yeah, I'm a big Gene Hackman fan, and he's been a pretty good bad guy in a lot of movies. fucking like Superman. He was Lex Luthor in Superman, right? Yeah, I loved that character in Unforgiven because he was like
He was just a bully.
just a bully, just so bad. But also like, I don't know, I loved like the human aspect of him where he was like he was a shitty carpenter.
He had a normal life. He worked on his house and shit.
Then
He had a fucking wife.
I love the part where the like reporter is like there and he's like, yeah, you should probably kill the carpenter. And he's like all ready to just gun him down. It just really good, really good.
Yeah, that was a great bad guy.
Yep.
Sympathetic and shit, but not that you didn't want to like watch him die, because he was a fucking jerk off too.
Yeah.
But goddamn,
Yeah,
the bully thing, that was the thing that like I
Yeah.
feel like if there was one thing that you could say about that character, that fucking kind of epitomized that role and shit.
Yep.
He was a fucking bully.
He was a bully.
And
Yep.
I mean, because he would like pee on your tree, like right in front of the guy, like fucking just emasculating him and shit in
Yep.
front of all those people and stuff. And I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
You ain't got to do him like that, Billy.
little Billy Daggett. Well, that was a good name.
And a dangerous man. That's a good call.
But it wasn't much of a quick draw. I love that scene too because he's all like, "See, that's it. That's as fast as I can go." A fucking great movie.
Yeah.
Great movie.
And I like when they, I like it when they keep it real like that and shit. In case you're not a Western fan or not, maybe even if you're a Western fan that thinks that like the quick draw was like a very real thing. Gunfights didn't really happen. It wasn't quick draw at high noon. Now I'm not saying that fucking getting your gun out fast wasn't a fucking a boon, but that's not how that shit.
So when we were watching 1883,
if you were going to kill a sheriff, you'd probably shoot him in the back from cover.
It's kind of fun watching movies or shows or whatever with Christine because she asks a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Which
we take for granted because we fucking
sometimes
are into this
would
shit.
like be annoying if somebody but it's not because she's seriously like curious about it. So there's a scene in 1883. If you haven't watched it yet, it's right in the very beginning. I'm not ruining anything, but where this guy is on a coach or not a coach, but
driving a wagon
on a buckboard, and he's riding across this field, and there's all these other guys on horseback shooting at him,
and they're throwing a shitload of lead around.
Yeah, and then he jumps off, takes cover, takes out his rifle, and fucks him up.
And after he's doing really well with the shotgun.
Yeah, which that's the only part of episode 1 that bugged me is he shoots twice with his shotgun. It's a double barrel shotgun, and then he shoots a third time.
Third shot.
But he doesn't. It's not like bang bang bang. He had time to reload. But I'm telling you guys, just all I needed just a 1 second flash of that fucking shotgun broken open. That's all I needed to be to like know he reloaded, or else it's like, damn it, you're breaking the fucking law of whatever it is, ammunition count. But yeah, and Christine's like, well, fuck, how do you do that? Like,
and why are those guys aren't hitting him? They're shooting all, like.
And it's like, you basically can't hit anything from horseback with a pistol. Like, good luck. It's so tough. And I just thought that was pretty interesting. Yeah. What was my point on that? Oh, just that getting your gun. Oh, yeah. And then the other thing I was gonna say about 1883 is the scene early on where he's walking down the road and then there's a fucking gunfight right behind him and they're just boom, boom, people are fucking, and it's
just a big clusterfuck.
It's just not even, but it's like not the focus, it's the background, And I was like, it's a dangerous town.
Yeah, and that was supposed to, what was it, Fort Worth?
Yeah, Fort Worth.
Yeah, apparently Fort Worth was a dangerous place back in the day.
Oh, Jesus, there were a lot of them.
Fort Worth is actually still kind of dangerous, but yeah. So my next one is, and this is a movie from the late '80s. Do you remember the movie Warlock? Julian Sands was these guys, like there's a little time travel. Like they get caught up in a spell or whatever. The witch hunter is hunting this warlock. Julian Sands is an English actor, and in the movie, like he wore his hair like super tight, pulled back. He had like blonde hair, wore all black. It was a fucking cool movie. Channel me a spirit.
It's tickling my brain, but I don't know if I've ever seen it.
I almost guarantee you've seen it.
Well, then I should remember it.
and he was really fucking cool. And the guys and they both wound up in like modern day like L.A. or whatever the fuck, and they both spoke like Old English.
Huh.
And he was really fucking cool. The Witch Hunter guy was actually pretty fucking cool too, and he wound up being in a lot of. They both wound up like having good careers and shit. I think this was like a B movie at the time, a B movie that turned out really well.
Well, yeah. Back then there were so many great B movies, like especially in the
True.
fantasy like world.
Yeah.
You know, Beastmaster. And
Oh my god,
Beastmaster's so great. Well, and
I should have had the Jun.
Time Bandits.
That wasn't a B movie though. That was a high
that
budget
was a high
fucking,
budget movie. Yeah. That was Terry
shit,
Gilliam.
Sean Connery was in it.
Was he? I don't remember that. But I know it was directed by Terry Gilliam. So, same guy who did, well, I don't know, a whole bunch of shit.
Man.
Yeah, it's a pretty great one. Well, my second one on my list and is Gregor Clegane, The Mountain That Rides, from Game of Thrones, played by Halford Bjornsson. Is that how you say it?
By the second season, but that wasn't the guy that started off playing him.
Oh, did it switch?
Yeah, they switched. The guy that played him in the first season was a great big motherfucker too.
In the first season, though, you really barely seen him.
Yeah.
He cuts a horse in half, and that's about
that's
the
the only
extent
time
of
that
it.
he shows up.
Yeah.
And then, of course, with like Halfthor and shit, his speaking parts were limited. But yes, and you know what? That's good enough because like big, scary, and silent is fucking
The scene where he kills the
Viper?
The Viper. Like, it was a great scene in the book, but man, did they fucking nail it in there.
When he just crushes Oberyn Martell's head like a fucking grape.
Yeah,
Oh, God.
so bad. And he's like, yeah, so bad. And then also the scene where
He takes that pick to the chest.
well, yeah, actually where Cersei, who it could have made my list, she
Legit.
when she like is got the fucking nun all tied up and basically is just like,
Oh,
now
yeah.
Gregor's gonna rape you for the remainder of your life,
Which is probably gonna be short
which is gonna
and
be
painful. Horrifying.
We'll try to keep you alive for a while.
By the way, he is undead.
yeah,
You know?
yeah, and I know it's not fair to like lay what I know of him from the books over top of what I saw in the show, but Gregor Clegane was such a fucking bad person in the books too. Just a true dark, evil person. Okay, what do you got?
My third one is Negan.
Interesting. So when I was talking about my bad guy, that it occurred to me that's what Negan is. Negan is a guy who is so bad, but is so bad because he knows that's what it takes. He has to be that demigod. He has to like hold that cult of personality together
Yes.
in order to like keep his people
Keep
alive.
order and
in his
and,
realm.
Yeah, and and in turn the greater good.
At least in his view. Now, was it the greater good? It's hard to say, but the fact is yes, really great character, and I really, really like how they took like just some of the shit he says, easy peasy lemon squeezy. Like, I have said that a 1,000 times because of Negan.
And I had there was a point when he was like still the main bad guy, where a friend of mine who's read the graphic novels,
Yeah, which I've heard are like
really good. Yeah,
really good.
He told me that part of Negan's character arc was he becomes like a good guy and a leader and shit like that. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
I'm like, how the fuck are they gonna do that?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
they do that.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward. So it's the second half of season 11?
Yeah.
And that's the last of it, I guess?
Yeah.
Yeah.
which that's too bad. I feel like that show has a couple more seasons in it, but in the spin-offs like Fear the Walking Dead, okay, that's pretty good. And then there was that one with the teenagers and that one is so fucking bad, so stupid. Makes me want to gouge my fucking eyes out. Actually, it makes me want to gouge their fucking eyes out. Let's be real. But yeah, that's shit. Just straight up fucking stupid garbage.
Yeah, Negan is a really great bad guy. I can't believe I didn't think of that one.
He is a good one.
Next on my list is Frank Griffin.
Frank Griffin. Is that the detective?
Played by Jeff Daniels. Godless.
Son of a bitch. Why didn't I think of him? What a fucking great bad guy.
Great bad guy. So that was a series. If you haven't seen Godless, it's a limited mini series.
What was the name of the town that they fucking wiped out? Because he had that great line. That fucking great line. Like, yeah, the citizens of whatever it was, like, thought it would be okay for him to, like, to walk their streets. Now they don't have any streets.
Yeah.
Or any citizens.
Yeah. He was. So Jeff Daniels, I think, is maybe one of the greatest actors of all time.
God,
Jesus Christ, I can't believe I didn't put him on my Mount Rushmore now that I think of it. Because talk about a guy who can play anything. I mean, Dumb and Dumber was fucking hilarious, right?
Absolutely.
To The Newsroom, right? Which was, like you just...
Plays this brilliant fucking newsman, like brilliant guy who happens to be a newsman.
To Godless, where he plays this true abomination.
Unhinged, fucking ridiculously fucking bad guy.
Yeah. Who's just like ridiculously tough and he's so good.
And fucking mean and super crazy. Crazy.
Yep. Yeah. If you haven't seen that, it's 10 episodes and or maybe 11 episodes and it's probably one of the, best. Fuck, it's good.
Yeah.
Just see it.
Godless is dope as fuck. I would put that up there, man. You know what? We're gonna wind up ranking our fucking westerns one of these days.
Yeah.
But I might.
We might have to have Drew Peterson back to do that.
Yeah, goddamn right.
the western expert.
Just goddamn, like between that, Lonesome Dove, 1883, like my favorite westerns might be all like limited series.
Yeah.
know?
Silverado is up there though.
Oh, there's so many good. Yeah,
there's
there's
so
a
many
ton of
good
great
ones.
movies, but like.
Yep.
But I mean, think of it. If you have the advantage of like, okay, we've got to do this in, 90 minutes to, an hour and a half to 2 hours, versus having fucking like 8 hours or 12 hours or whatever.
So
to fucking
I
tell your
feel
story.
like movies are kind of going the way of the dodo in some ways. I mean, obviously, COVID like made movie theaters like so much less profitable or whatever, and now they're releasing movies. Like I just watched The Matrix on HBO Max the other day, and I dig the fact that I can watch a movie that's in the theaters on a streaming. It's fucking wonderful. And honestly, I don't know that I'll ever go to a fucking movie theater again. Because I don't enjoy going to the movie theater as much as I enjoy sitting on the couch and eating popcorn and
Yeah, nobody's.
Who am I kidding? I don't have a couch. But
nobody's calling 911 on me if I just want to fucking drop trow.
Well, and I have a small bladder. I cannot make it through a movie without taking at least one piss.
Right. And it's alarming how fucking hard it is, no matter how much you yell, to get them to fucking pause a movie when you're at the theater. Son of a bitch, what do I have to do in here?
So
that's probably why that guy shot up that theater.
But also, like, series are so great.
Well, and like nowadays we're kind of turning like we've kind of turned a corner where like series were where you went like at the end or the very beginning of your career,
right?
And now you've got huge fucking
really good actors, yep, that
showing up in fucking series. Like like the morning show with Reese Witherspoon and
Jennifer Aniston
and shit.
And
dude from The Daily Show or whatever.
Well, he was from The Daily Show originally. From The Office, I should fucking know his name for Christ's sake. He was Michael Scott, whoever it was. Awesome.
But those guys, and then fucking Jeremy Renner, who's now in who was just in Hawkeye on Disney, and is now in mayor of Kingstown.
Yeah,
who
and
is
he-
a definite verified,
and he's all-
verified A-lister.
Yeah, and he's in all the Marvel movies. And
Yeah.
yeah, he's definitely an
These
A-list.
huge fucking stars are just in these fucking series because you know what? They like that shit. They get these scripts and stuff, and at that point, like, it's probably not about the money, although I'm sure they get paid very well.
I'm sure it's about the money.
But like, I mean, you like it. You're like, oh, I want to play this fucking role. Fuck yeah, I do. Like, I'm in. You know.
No, I think that's very true. And it's kind of like audio books for me. It's like, oh, it's a 2-hour movie and then it's over. Fuck, I don't know.
Yeah.
I kind of want more.
Yeah.
You know, give me a series.
But I mean, and at the same time, you can be really fucking slow and boring with a 90-minute movie. You know, like you could have been that boring with fucking 12 episodes. But I'm getting really fucking caught up in these goddamn series. You know, and it's you just get a better story out of fucking, you know, all that time and shit. You know. And that's got to be what's up with the fucking, you know, because like Lonesome Dove and shit like that, all these long episodic fucking westerns, you know, have like risen to the top of my favorite westerns.
Yep.
What do these have in common? You know,
I am really, really looking forward to Terminal List. I've talked a little bit about it before, but it's a series of books written by this guy named Jack Carr, and he was a Navy SEAL.
Yeah.
And now, who's the guy from Guardians of the Galaxy and
yes.
Yeah,
Star-Lord.
Star-Lord from Guardians of the Galaxy, and he was in not The Office, but Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec, yeah.
But I really wish I could remember his name. But he optioned it like before it was even he optioned it for a series before it was even released as a book because he got a copy of it from his friend who like knew Jack Carr, and he read it and he's like, this is gonna be a fucking great series, and he optioned it and whatever. So it's coming out I think this year. We don't even know what platform it's on, but I'm so looking forward to it. And I
There's
think
so much good TV out
and
now.
it's interesting because Jack Carr actually said, you know, they say when you're writing that you aren't. I would listen to him in an interview on Joe Rogan, and he said when you're writing, you're not supposed to really like think of an actor that is your main character, but I just couldn't help it, and I did, and it was Skylord, and it's so crazy that he's the one who optioned it, and it's just I don't know, I can't wait. I'm really looking forward to that. His writing is fantastic, and the other thing is that I think I mentioned before is that they're having Jack Carr, who was a Navy SEAL, who wrote these books, on as a technical advisor. So,
which is fucking awesome.
Yeah, and he actually told Jack like straight up, like, my biggest concern is fucking this up. Like, I don't want anything to be wrong. I don't want any Navy SEAL or any military guy out there to be like, no, that's not the way. That's not the kind of the gun they're using. Is the gun they use. The da 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 da. So. It's interesting because in the book it's redacted. Not much, but several parts of the book are redacted, and Jack decided to not change the names of the places and stuff that got redacted. It just says redacted. So he's like, and then they went to redacted and like keep going. And he's like, if you have an IQ over 70, I think you can put it together. But yeah, I thought that was pretty great. So fucking A, where were we on that one?
Oh,
I forgot. Like,
I don't know how we got there, but
who just talked about their guy? And
this is
westerns.
It
It was me. I just did mine. Jeff Daniels. That's how we got there. Jesus.
So while we were doing our list, I thought of a really good one that I was going to replace this guy with, and then immediately forgot it. So I'm going with this guy. Also an 80s movie. Do you remember Angel Heart with Mickey Rourke and Lisa Bonet?
Fucking amazing.
Dude,
yes.
and the bad guy, played by Robert De Niro.
Louis
Cypher.
Cypher.
Yeah.
So great. Yeah.
And
that fucking thing got Lisa Bonet thrown off of the Cosby Show.
Yeah, because she
fucked a chicken.
naked.
Yeah, and stuck a chicken in her vagina.
Fucking Lisa Bonet.
Okay, so how old were you when you saw that movie?
Oh, probably 12 or something.
Oh, no, you were probably 14 because I was 14. Unless you saw it in the theater, which I'm sure you didn't.
No.
Yeah, I was 14 when it came out on video. And we were like, me and all my friends were so excited. And I had to talk my fucking mom into going and renting it for us. And she was like, it was like NC-17, you know, so it was like you couldn't rent it if you weren't. And I'm most of you have probably heard stories about my mom. She was a big old mean woman who smoked a lot of cigarettes, and she was like,
Owen,
I'm gonna rent you some fucking pornos. All right, whatever. You know, she was all mean about it. But that movie was so good. Yeah, I think we watched it like 4 times back to back. Yeah, so Robert De Niro played.
Yeah,
played the devil.
Played the devil.
Louis Cypher.
And, you know, like you're going to be if you are playing the devil, he was cool.
He was very cool.
He was kind of scary.
That was back when Mickey Rourke was like, well, Mickey Rourke's always been kind of cool. But
he was a big deal, and he was good looking and shit.
Yep.
It's before all the weird plastic surgery and fucking all that shit.
Well, and he wasn't even a big guy at that time. Yep.
But yeah, Mickey Rourke was cool. Lisa Bonet was
one
cool.
One of his lines in there is, even your name's a crap. God damn it! Even your name's a Cracker Jack box joke. I love that line.
But and they do all the symbolism and shit, like with the egg and stuff like that, and like
they touched a little bit on like the voodoo of the South and everything.
It's just it's a cool movie. But Robert De Niro, like Robert De Niro does, God damn it! I should have said fuck Louis Cypher and went with him in Cape Fear.
Cape Fear. Yeah, we talked about that before Cape Fear, and that's a movie I still never seen. I don't think I'm going to.
He's so fucking good in there. It's pretty violent.
I got to the part where he bit the chick,
bit her face up and shit.
Or I thought I bit her in the back.
Was it?
Like he was raping her and he bit her in the back, or he was just fucking her or something. But he took a chunk out, and I was like, I'm done. I couldn't go on.
Yeah, it's pretty violent. He plays a pretty crazy guy, really fucking crazy guy. That fucking,
and he was ripped. Like I always liked Robert De Niro and the whole with his ability to like transform his body to his role. He's a good actor. I wish he'd stop doing fucking comedies though. I gotta tell you, like Meet the Fockers and all that stuff. That shit just stresses me out. Yeah.
Yep.
Just do serious shit.
You got a whole generation of people that know you for that shit. Come on, dude.
You're a goddamn mobster. Be a mobster. Okay. Next on my list. Oh, this is the last one. Okay, this is Hans Landor. I think is how you say it. Played by Christopher Waltz. I wouldn't have got it from either of those either. Inglourious Bastards.
Oh.
So you've seen Inglourious Bastards, right?
Yeah.
So this is the Jew Hunter.
The Jew Hunter, yeah.
Oh my God.
That does the great interview and shit, like at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah,
and like,
for
that
it's
dude is,
that's like
God, that guy's a good actor.
That's like not in English for like I'm watching this fucking movie and like the first like 10 minutes of it isn't in English and I'm terrified. Like he was able to like act in
what is supposed to be like his like funny, disarming fucking fashion or whatever
so
that he's conducting
scary.
that with, and you're just waiting for it for it. It's fucking brilliantly written.
Yeah, it really is. I was not a giant fan of Inglourious Bastards.
Me neither.
I liked the movie okay. I did like. I really did like Brad Pitt's role in it. When he's like, yeah, well, they're really good with French, but they're not really good with Italian. Do you know any Italian? And he's like, Arrivederci. And it just cracked me the fuck up. But it was an okay movie. It wasn't like Django Unchained or anything. Yeah. But that fucking The Jew Hunter was a scary ass bad guy. And
that fucking particular scene really did it for me.
Yeah, it was a great. And then he also was in Django Unchained. Yeah. But he's a good guy in that. And he was a fantastic character in there too. So
agreed.
Yep. He's pretty fucking awesome.
Great actor.
Yeah. I'd like to see more of him. I wish, like, I don't know. Like, well, he's German, and I think he plays in a lot of foreign shit, but yeah. So. Man,
I keep thinking of other fucking bad guys I should have, like Michael Fassbender's fucking villain in my favorite horror movie, one of my favorite horror movies, Blood Creek. That's his name, Michael Fassbender?
I don't know.
Am I getting that right, Fassbender? No, I know Fassbender's right, but Michael? Yeah, anyway. He's a big star now, but he was in that, and fucking he was super scary. But I've got we both have Crazy Horses. I look at the light like it's the camera. Oh, no, I'm talking to the light. But so here's my honorable mention. The Darkness in Legend.
Wow. Played by
I went with a lot of 80s movies.
played by Curry. Adam Curry. Nope. Tim
Curry.
Curry.
Yeah.
Tim Curry, yes. Yeah. That's a pretty interesting one. One of the fucking worst movies ever, but he was a really good. He was
I
a
love
really
that movie,
good bad
but just
guy.
for like the nostalgia effect and stuff, and because it was a pretty. You know what? Like as far as fantasy goes, I mean, it was supposed to be a fairy tale, so yeah, whatever. You know, like
I don't remember it really well. I just remember like Tom Cruise just being like god awful and horrible. But I do remember that Tim Curry, he has these giant fucking horns, these just amazing horns.
Like a water buffalo horns or some
Yep.
shit, like which was a different look for the devil.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
now you see it, now you see it. Now it's fashionable for devils. but he was fucking enormous and like fucking yoked,
Yeah.
all fucking ripped and shit and red and fucking kind of whiny. But
Why? But with a really good voice.
yeah, he did have a really good voice.
Well,
And
he
really-
has a really good voice. He was also Smog in
You know,
Fern Gully.
I didn't remember that.
Not Smog the dragon, but Smog in Fern Gully.
Oh, gotcha.
Yes. I think it's Smog was the name of the bad guy. And which he was nothing. There was it was just Smog, but it was his voice and he sings. It was good. He was also great in the one with the lips, whatever that's called. What's the fucking show that everybody goes and like it's a production when you go see it?
Oh,
Transvestite from
yes,
Transylvania.
why the fuck? Rocky Horror Picture
Rocky
Show.
Horror Picture Show.
Yeah, he's been good in a lot of stuff. But yeah, he was good. He was Rooster in Annie.
I don't remember that.
Yeah. That was another '80s movie.
Mine's an '80s movie. I was pretty current on most of them, but you tickled my brain on this one when you brought up the Kurgan, and it is James Earl Jones.
Oh, Thulsa Doom.
Thulsa Doom. I was gonna say James Earl Jones, and I was wondering if you were gonna go with Vader, and I was like, nah,
That's
it's
too easy.
Thulsa Doom.
And Vader.
He was-
Vader,
yeah, he's
like
alright.
historically, like impact wise and stuff. Yes, one of the greatest villains ever. But really,
He was never
Vader
really-
that scary.
It was never really that
fucking
bad.
cool?
Like in the movies, he didn't really
Yeah.
come off that bad. He's a little more badass now that I know more about his story and all the peripherals. But we're not talking about him.
Well,
we're talking about.
I mean, and besides, now when I think about Darth Vader, I just think about Christian or whatever, Hayden Christensen.
Oh yeah,
Anakin.
little putz. Yeah.
Fuck. Way to ruin shit for me.
okay.
That's like giving fucking Wolverine a background story, motherfucker.
I want to go back to fucking Thulsa Doom.
Oh, sorry.
So, James, if you have no idea what we're talking about, we're talking about the greatest show of all time, Conan the Barbarian.
After Highlander.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, I mean Highlander
Although
was.
those were my two favorite movies as a kid.
Well, what year did Highlander come out? That was quite a bit later.
Yeah.
Because I remember,
'Cause I was a pretty young kid when I first saw Conan.
I was 8. Like I said, I've told the story 1,000 times, but I begged 8 or 9, begged my dad to take me to Conan.
Yeah.
And he.
And your mom was against
and
it.
My mom was like, "Fuck, take it was rated R or whatever." And then he finally he conceded and took me, and like I had to promise not to have nightmares, and of course I had nightmares because it was fucking scary as shit when I was 8. But I fucking love that movie, and I've seen it just hundreds of times, and I just think it's like one of the greatest movies ever made. And but James Earl Jones was such a scary fucking character in that movie, and
He's a good actor.
yeah, some of the greatest lines, let him contemplate it on the tree of woe.
Well,
Lexo,
and
crucify
the-
him.
And the non-line, my favorite scene of his in that movie is where he looks at Conan's mother and he's got like you can see like the
Like,
sympathy and stuff
yep.
on his face, and he starts to turn away, and you're like, he's gonna let him live,
The opening scene.
and then he spins and lobs her fucking head off.
I like literally. I can truly remember this. I almost vomited when that happened. When I saw it in the movie, I was 8 fucking years old. You had no, and you guys, 8-year-olds today, they go see that thing and they'd be like, what? Fucking who cares? But this was,
Do you think so?
I think so, because this is 1980.
Or would they be scarred for life and have to go to fucking therapy and
I don't think
get-
so. I
get
think it just.
medication
I
for
think
it and shit?
violence is just so like passe now.
Well, I suppose.
I mean,
There
they
is
would.
the video game thing.
There was titties in it, so there would be that would have been like really fucking scarring for them. But like the violence part is just like passe. But there was nothing like that back then. This was like.
That's true.
This was like. So
I mean, we watched
incredibly.
her head like fall right next to
Yeah, poor little Conan's feet. Then he had to go. Then he had to go on the wheel of pain and become giant. Because I was like, at the time, I was like, how much fucking food they feeding that guy? Because it takes a lot of fucking food to get that big.
especially doing that much like cardio and stuff. Like look at that's a lot of repetitions if you're just pushing a thing in a wheel all day.
Yeah, such a good movie though. But yeah, that fucking movie it like defined my tens, and that was great.
It was a great movie.
And for some fucking reason, this is so weird. I have an association with Toto, Rosanna, and that movie. Okay, so I cannot hear the song Rosanna
Without thinking of
without totally thinking of Conan the Barbarian. And I don't know why those two are conflated. Is that the right word? Or connected in my brain? My guess is that like on the ride home from the movie, it was on the radio or something. And but every time I hear Rosanna, I wake up in the morning and I smell I can feel like the fucking horses
and then you
studying
sing
and
Conan, Conan.
they're completely unrelated, but they are so incredibly intertwined in my mind.
But you didn't have an experience like happened to me when I watched Gladiator. I think we've talked about that on here, where during the scene where he is walking up the road to his villa, where he finds his wife and fucking his wife wife and child slaughtered and shit.
Yeah.
He's walking up there, and just as he's like getting up to the villa, the sound cut out, and "Help Me, Rhonda" started playing. Help
In the
me,
in the
Rhonda,
movie?
yeah, get her out of my heart. Yeah, in the theater there, and I'm like,
I don't remember you telling me that.
I'm like, motherfucker, like, I was
That-
fucking furious.
It seems like that totally like fits into that scene.
right? I mean, granted, yes, that song always had made me feel like a murderous rage, but like it did kind of take a little bit away from the moment in the movie, and I'm like, how the fuck did that even happen? Like, I want to cut somebody's head off just for this, like I've had some stupid shit happen to me in theaters, but that might be the worst.
I watched
And I've been in
Gladiator
fistfights in
maybe
movies
like
and shit.
5 years ago. Well, I've been in fistfights in movies. I when I was like 15, 16.
Oh yeah, you did you got
Yeah,
the popcorn over the
Yeah,
guy's head.
Brad
and shit.
Halverson.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fucking.
You can't scare me in Pet Cemetery, motherfucker.
You know I'm jumpy.
Yeah, it's not a good idea. I watched Gladiator like 5 years ago. That movie fucking sucks.
It's not a great movie.
Thought it was
huge big
great
deal
when I
about
saw it, but
I wanted the first part where he was in Gaul. I wanted that to keep going.
yeah,
'Cause I remember I was like, "This is cool."
Yeah.
They really blew their load.
Well, they
there
really
was some
did-
cool scenes in the fucking arena, but
yeah, okay, but like, well, fucking nowhere near as good as like Spartacus, like the series. I want to rewatch that. I don't have stars though, but they did a great job with like the siege engines and some of that, all that. It like was very cool in the beginning, but then like after they left Gaul, it really just not that great of a movie.
Yeah, and it was super fucking predictable, and
Yeah.
I mean, I like Russell Crowe just fine and stuff. They had some good. The cast was really good, but like I honestly, as good as an actor as he really is,
I don't know that he's that great.
Phoenix, Joaquin Phoenix or whatever,
Joaquin.
Joaquin. I did not find him. I did not like.
I'm not a
his
huge fan of
portrayal
Joaquin Phoenix. I mean, the Joker. It's
I didn't like
okay.
that movie.
I didn't hate
A lot of
it.
people did.
I
Whatever.
liked the only part of it I liked is when he kills the guy, and then like the short the short guy is the little person is there, and so he kills the other guy, and then short, the little guy, the little person trying to be politically the midget
PC.
is there, and he can't reach the fucking door handle, and Joaquin Phoenix is all like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." Gets up and like lets him out or whatever. Oh my god, I thought I was gonna fucking die in the theater when I saw that. But yeah, I don't think I like any DC shit.
It's hard.
Since
Like
Batman.
Aquaman was good.
With Michael Keaton.
See, I've really liked Christian
I know
Bale's
you did,
Batman's, but like overall, man, DC doesn't. But then at least I don't know. Then I look at the Marvel stuff, even the stuff that I do enjoy. They stray so far from the comics and shit, and get so many things wrong, and But being a comic fan from way back, that shit, you gotta I have to enjoy those separately. But then again, when I think about it, I'm like, how much am I really? It's just like, how much am I really into that shit anymore? Anyway, like Star Wars, I'm not into Star Wars shit as much as I used to be.
Have you watched the Book of Fett?
No, I've been saving those. I'm gonna just run through those when they get or once they're all, because I'm looking forward to them. But I heard they're a real fucking letdown.
Really? See, I didn't think so at all. I'm current and I love them.
But see, they have the advantage of being like I really like.
I can't remember
huge Tamora Morrison fan,
I can't remember the name of it, but the Sand People they have a stick,
Yeah.
like whatever. I think it's called a Jaffe stick. And friend of the show, Danny Swilling, messaged me and he said, "Hey, are you current on the Book of Fett?" And I said, "No, I have one left." And he goes, "Okay, well after you watch it, just know that I need a Jaffe stick." And I was like, so I watched it and I was like, fuck yeah, Jaffe sticks all around. Nice. And we need to learn Jaffe kata. And he's like, I'm in. So that's to come. That will be a later Progressive Preppers episode. I really like it though. I think it's great. It's kind of a little bit like The Mandalorian was when it started out. It's a little formulaic. But dude, I'm okay with that. It's cool. I'm okay with formulaic. Plus, they kind of go down the culture of the Sand People, and I thought that was really cool and really well done. So
I heard something about that. Although I know nothing about it. I just I like a big nod to the Sand People and shit like that. I'm like, that's cool. That's interesting. Because we barely touch on them, in Star Wars and shit.
Yep.
And there are a couple of people out there that can make those Sand People noises, which I think are also awesome.
I was just going to launch into one, and I realized no.
Yeah, I want to really bad, but I'm afraid I would just sound like I was making fun of handicapped people.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there we go.
They let them out the door. Okay. I think that's good. All right, so we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to do our first episode of Progressive Preppers, so stick around. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Matt Taylor here with my good buddy,
Kyle Amundsen.
and this is our first episode of Progressive Preppers.
So bear with us.
So what is kind of the idea behind Progressive Preppers, Kyle?
Preparedness used to be kind of the realm of the more conservative or at least libertarian folk, and now a lot of progressives are kind of getting on board. There's a lot of lists out there from government agencies and stuff. Like things that you should have, like in supply in case of certain emergencies, weather emergencies, power outages.
Yeah, especially in this
like
area. I've been talking a lot about like what happens if the power goes out.
Yeah, a power outage in the upper
below.
Midwest, is it's deadly. It's deadly in Texas.
Yeah, it's deadly in Texas. Exactly.
So up here in Minnesota, one should be. It behooves us to be a little more prepared.
And I think it's definitely becoming a little more mainstream to have some kind of preparedness in mind. I was listening to NPR the other day, and they were talking about, your go bag, and I was like, did they just say go bag on NPR?
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Well, and this is not something like it's not new. A lot of the stuff that we talk about, and a lot of the stuff that we kind of advocate, is just. Would just be considered common sense, like in just our parents' era.
Right.
So it's just something that people seem to have really gotten away from, in the in the very near, in recent memory.
Right.
Like our grandparents and stuff, people that lived through the Depression, all of this stuff would be, if they had access to the things we do, they would probably think that it was silly
Right.
to not,
Right.
observe some measures.
Yeah. So today we're talking about a get-home bag, and this is by no means a comprehensive list of what you would need or anyone would need for a get-home bag, but this is the get-home bag that I am personally preparing for myself. I am going to be taking a journey across the country, and I recently, both of us have read a book called the Borrowed World series, which is a really good book, really good series. And in that, the main character ends up finding himself a couple hundred miles away from home, and he's got to figure out a way to get there. They have to walk, and it's a really interesting story. But he is a prepared-minded guy, and he has a get-home bag put together. And I figured, well, since we wanted to start this show, and I was taking a trip across the country, it was probably a good time to put together a get-home bag. And it was a lot more challenging than I thought it would be. I was like, hey, I've read all these books. I got all this stuff. I should be in good shape. And it's been a challenge.
And we're not. I mean, they don't give out PhDs in this sort of thing, and we don't we read. We read a lot of books, watch some YouTube videos and stuff like that. Neither of us have ever survived a major calamity like an EMP or something like that, obviously. Right. But that's, neither have the other people putting out, videos and stuff.
Right.
And,
unless you live in like Syria or Iraq or some of that. Usually the stuff isn't coming into play all that often. But
yeah, not a lot of first-hand knowledge, out there when people are making these videos and stuff. But we glean what we can from different sources and try to put together what makes sense. And Matt's done a fantastic job.
So this is what I put together. So first of all, we're talking about a get-home bag. So this is not like everything that you possibly could need in any scenario. This is just the stuff that you have in the one backpack that you're planning on keeping with you pretty much the entire time you're out there on your journey. Right?
Yeah, this is not your full tactical loadout or something. In fact, you kind of want to do the gray man thing and not stand out.
So that's a very good point, right? And if you don't know what Kyle's talking about, the idea of the gray man is to basically be somebody who doesn't have a lot of attention drawn to themselves. So it's so I'm not.
Yeah, just blend in and not make yourself a target.
I'm not walking around in a plate carrier with a big tactical backpack on my back. So the backpack that I'm using is just a North Face regular old backpack. Actually, it was a gift from the Takedown Gym for Christmas. I don't celebrate Christmas. I'm not returning it. But it's just a normal old backpack. There's nothing special about it. It's a nice hardy backpack, but it does have this handy dandy strap that goes across. So if I do have to do some major hiking, whatever, and I'm just hoping I can cram all of this stuff inside of it. That's going to be the real challenge. So I'm going to throw that down there.
We'll make it fit.
The first thing that was on everybody's list was, oddly enough, was socks. Because inevitably, if you're in an emergency situation, you're probably going to spend a lot of time walking. A minimum of 3 pairs of good socks. These are Timberland, they're merino wool blend. Good socks, nothing majorly expensive. But I found the only 3 pair that didn't have holes in them. And they're going in the pack. And then I just have I put these little bands around it, try to make it as small as I possibly can. But this is just a nice pair of long underwear, and this is a compression shirt, it's basically like a rash guard. But that'll help me keep the heat in if I end up having to make my travel across the mountains, which is a pretty scary scenario.
But also moisture wicking.
Yes, yep. Both of them are moisture wicking, and that's super important. And then I just got a comfortable pair of jeans, nothing special there. And then I figured since I was probably gonna get some, I may as well do some advertising for spitballing on my journey home. So I got a t-shirt and just a light sweatshirt, and that's basically all that I have in there for clothing. Now again, this is not the stuff that I'm using on my everyday wear. This is the stuff that's staying in my pack in case I have to make the escape, right? And again, who knows what that might be? I mean, maybe it's just as simple as we get a flat tire going through the mountains, and it's 10 miles to the nearest gas station. We have no cell service, and I gotta make that journey. Well, I'm prepared for that journey. If the EMP hits and we no longer have electricity, I'm probably a little less prepared, but I still have some preparation, and a little preparation is better than no preparation. Where do you want to go next? We talk about food?
Yes.
Okay, so this was tough. It was really tough to try to decide how much food you wanted to bring, and and everything I looked at, people were all over the place. So I tried to get as calorie-dense food as I possibly could and not take up a whole bunch of room. So what I ended up getting was these Met RX bars. They're basically just a really untasty, apparently, protein bar. They have 30 grams of protein. What do they have for calories? Oh yeah, I have the sheet right here. They are 380 calories per bar. So that's a decent amount per bar. And
they're a well-established company. They've been making sports supplements for 30 years or whatever.
They had some pretty good reviews on Amazon. So they didn't cost me an arm and a leg. There's a lot of them out there that have really good reviews and are really good. I just couldn't honestly afford them, Yeah. And because that stuff gets really expensive.
Well, and that's another thing about the whole preparedness thing. Since a lot of people are catching the bug, you can spend a lot of money.
A lot.
Basically, everything that you're going to see us doing will be on a budget.
Obviously, because I have very little money.
Well, we're not. We're not. You won't see our specially designed prepper RV. Loaded up with state-of-the-art weaponry.
That's season 2. Once we get some sponsors. And then in the food department, I also running across those. I got these things called survival tabs. Somebody in the comments was talking about how they use these things, and they're just basically like little gummies of food. And I don't know that these are all that great. It's 12 tabs is a serving, 240 calories, 30 grams of protein. So, it's not horrible, and they're pretty small and light, so I figured I could jam those guys in there.
Can't hurt unless they hurt.
And I also like beef sticks.
Well established.
These things last a long time, and they're also really tasty. I had one just right before we started. I took that out of my other supply.
Yes.
So that's pretty much it. That's all I'm packing for food, except for one other very important thing as far as food goes. And I think it's probably the most important thing, maybe the most important thing to survive on the table.
Matt will eat human at the drop of a hat.
Yeah, it's not the knife. It's actually the life straw. If you guys, every single household should have one of these things, and we are not sponsored by Life Straw yet, but if they want to sponsor us, they definitely should.
By all means.
So basically, what this thing is it's just got a filter inside of it, and you can take literally any water. It doesn't have to be potable, and you can make it drinkable. It's not expensive.
I would filter water as best I can.
Obviously.
Before you, but if you had to, you could drink out of a mud puddle with that.
Yep. I mean, you definitely should filter it as best that you can, because if you don't, it'll clog your filter is really what happens, and you get a lot less life out of your filter. But you can literally run it through your sock into your life straw, and then use the pump on the life straw or the filter on the life straw to make it potable.
And we'll be doing at least one episode on water purification in the not so distant future.
For sure. But everybody should have a life straw, because you just never know when, let's just say, I remember when I was a kid, how many times did Brainerd get a water alert and you couldn't drink the water? That happened all the time. It seems like it's happening less these days. But there's all sorts of reasons why the water out of your tap may no longer be drinkable, and this is the cure to that. And the last thing that you want to do when you're trying to make your way back home
Ooh,
is to get yourself sick from drinking bad water. It's explosive diarrhea for 2 to 3 weeks, and without antibiotics, you will more than likely die. So it's cheap. I don't even know how much it was. $35, something like that, is definitely cheap. And it's not like this thing lasts forever until I start using it. You know what I mean? I also have an extra filter in there. So I can't remember exactly how much it is, but it's enough,
hundreds and hundreds of gallons.
Hundreds and hundreds of gallons. It's enough to keep me alive for quite some time. So everybody should get one of those. Okay, what else is on the list?
Shelter.
Here? Shelter's a good idea. Now, again, I'd love to pack a tent, and I have a really nice tent. But man, it ain't gonna fit in that backpack, and if it does fit in that backpack, I'm gonna have to leave out some food. So, shelter, you kind of got to improvise. I'm bringing along a small tarp. It's just I don't know exactly what size it is, but it's just a small ground tarp, real thin. It slides in the backpack easy, and that'll keep me at least a little dry off the ground.
In case you have to, build. If you have to build a shelter, you can sleep on top of it. Use it to patch a hole in something.
Yep.
Tarps are a must.
And then, of course, you just need some garbage bags, some Ziploc bags, and just you can make yourself a rain poncho out of this if you need to. You can use it kind of as a sleeping bag, augmenting your blanket, you can like live inside of it if you gotta, But remember, children, don't put it over your head and breathe because you'll perish. Yeah. Then what else? Oh, I grabbed a bunch of these. What are they called? Hand warmers and feet warmers. I'm traveling through the mountains, and I really dislike being cold. These hand and feet warmers can come in really handy. They last 5 hours, 8 hours on the hand warmers. They're pretty light, pretty easy thing to just kind of stick in there just in case they last a long time. So, yep, throw those guys in there. So we are in the COVID days, so it's a good idea to carry along some masks. I actually got some of these K95 masks, KN95 I guess they are. So these are supposedly just a slight bit not as good as the N95s, but are pretty close, and they're really reasonably priced. If you can get them, we ordered these on Amazon, so they weren't extreme. But these are really good masks. And there's a lot of reasons, not just COVID, that you might need a mask for a survival situation, like
smoke, chemical. And all the not all these things are going to be like not all pollutants are going to be completely filtered out by these masks and stuff, but short of carrying around a gas mask or something, you want something to mitigate. Better a little bit of prevention. A little bit of mitigation.
Yeah, like forest fires is a big thing. Going to California, and I don't know if you know this, but California starts on fire all the time. Having a decent mask is a good idea. I brought a bunch of them just because you never know how many you're gonna need. What's the saying?
Dust, smoke, whatever.
Two is one and one is none.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as many as you can get. Though, it's again when you're trying to consolidate your stuff down to one backpack, it's it's nice to have repetition, but you have to always be considerate of the space.
Yeah. Sometimes you kind of have to suspend or pay less heed to the rule of redundancy.
Not
just travel light.
On some of the most important things, I doubled up, but for the most part, not. And then just in that same line, as far as the masks go, I just have a little baggie full of rubber gloves because they're important for all sorts of reasons. As I was putting this together, I was like, man, I hope I don't get pulled over and searched because they're definitely going to think that I'm getting rid of a body. Yeah, for sure.
Watch Dexter a lot.
I have never watched Dexter.
Your blanket.
My blanket. Yeah, so I have just a packable blanket. I have a couple straps on there to get it as small as possible. It's not a lot, it's not going to be great. I don't even know if I'm going to make it if it's 20 below out there, but I'm also bringing along a thermal sleeping bag and all the other stuff, but this is better than nothing. if I'm stuck. Maybe sleeping in a car or whatever it ends up being. So, and then I have that, and then I also have a survival blanket, which is just an emergency survival blanket, which has that it's made out of that mylar foil, which can help you stay alive. You wrap yourself in that. You wrap yourself in the other blanket. You wrap yourself in a tarp and in a couple of garbage bags, and I'm giving you 50-50 chances. So yeah, we got that. Man, that is going to be tough to stick all that in there. So one of the most important things is give me that roll of duct tape.
Indeed. Duct tape is hugely important. It's so versatile.
It's not just red green, man. Super important to have it along. This is kind of a giant roll of duct tape, and I was really considering using a smaller roll of duct tape, but then I started kind of thinking in my mind about...
You can also get those little packages, but those are only like 15 feet or whatever.
I started thinking about all the possible scenarios where I might need duct tape, and I was like, man, I'm going for the jumbo roll because you can make a shelter out of it. You can, it just multiple uses. And if you are traveling where you're going to be walking a long distance, guys, I'm telling you, shoes are just not made to hold up the way that you would think they would be. So in a couple of the books that I was reading, duct tape came into a pretty big play.
Yeah, you can get a few more miles out of your hiking boots with appropriate application of duct tape.
Yep, and you can just make hiking boots out of duct tape if you need to. So yeah, ode to red green. Then also just got some zip ties as well as some paracable, paracord. Love this stuff, and you can never have enough. I had to really control myself to have just this 500 foot thing of paracable. So we got all that. So binoculars. Want to hand me those binoculars?
Ooh, I need a small pair.
Yeah. So I struggled with whether or not I was going to include binoculars, and because they're a little bit. I mean, they're a small pair of binoculars, but it's kind of a big thing to put in there. But then I'm like, it's a huge advantage being able to see far away, especially with my eyeballs, because I don't see that far away even the way it is. So I decided, I need to find a spot for them in there. What else we got? So I have a couple of walkie-talkies. I had thought about these a lot too. These are 35-mile walkie-talkies, which is like clear. Plain line of sight, So, in the mountains, who knows? But in all the books I'm always reading, it's like what a huge advantage to be able to communicate. So I thought, I better take these with me. So they're fun ones.
Well, and then, as we know from from our misspent youths, sometimes when you're on the run and you're like trying to get away, it's easy to get separated.
Very, yes.
So if you weren't a delinquent, you know what we're talking about.
Yes, and if you weren't a delinquent, I'm sorry. Yeah, you missed out.
You're already at a disadvantage.
So I brought a couple of flashlights. I got a headlamp, a nice LED headlamp that's pretty bright, and then I got this. This is like the coolest light. It has like a little magnet on it, and you can stick it up anywhere. It's super bright, and it does the little flashy thing. The thing's pretty cool. I actually have one of these in my Land Rover as like my little dome light because the dome light doesn't work, but it's good.
I love headlamps.
I do too.
I can't get enough of headlamps.
Yeah, they make headlamps that big?
I usually tie them together. so I'm walking around with a light going like that, but it's still cool.
It's very.
If I'm fast enough, I can catch
it. This is just a little rain poncho, real small, real nice one. Got to have one of those.
So he doesn't have to use his garbage bags?
Yeah, I don't want to use up my garbage bags. That's the thing. You get the rain poncho also doubles. This is an interesting little thing. So this is
the Silcox key.
Is a Silcox key, yeah. So when I gave Kyle my list of stuff, he said, "Oh, you're missing a Silcox key," and I said, "What's a Silcox key again?"
And from watching other preppers' YouTube videos on their get home bags and stuff. This one I first saw on an old Green Berets get home bag, and then I saw it on a plumber's get home bag, and I was like, okay, it's legit. So commercial buildings, don't just have regular spigots like like you do at home. And this will open up open up your water sources along commercial buildings and whatnot. Yeah, so it's kind of a must-have.
Yeah, especially when you're in an area. So we talk a lot about water, and obviously water's super important. But we live in the land of 10,000 lakes, and it's pretty easy to find water around here. But that is not the case everywhere.
Yeah, it's not everywhere.
And when you're traveling like this, it's always a good idea to have a lot of different options when it comes to water. So
the rule of threes, which is another prepper concept. 3 minutes without air, 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food.
3 seconds if I'm choking you.
And
there's that.
Oh,
and then another thing that you suggested, and is a good idea, I thought, is a compass. Because obviously, if stuff goes the way that it could go, we're not necessarily going to have GPS navigation on our phones, right?
Can't count on your phone.
Can't necessarily count on that. So this is a pretty handy little thing, and this is a pretty cool one. So snap that in there. And it's got a little lockdown so that it doesn't get messed up.
And in compassing and orienteering is something that you can practice. You can practice your orienteering like when you're hiking and stuff. When it's for us, that's the 3 weeks out of the year that it's nice enough to do that sort of thing outside. Otherwise,
This summer, I want to do a challenge though, where I go and get dropped off at a location that I know the location, and then see if I can walk home. Maybe start at like a 20-mile and see what happens. And of course, I'll have my phone and can always call for a rescue if I need to. But yeah, I think that would be kind of an interesting project.
This is an interest of ours. We're not super immersed in the full prepper lifestyle. Like a lot of these guys on these videos, they're pretty advanced preppers. This is new-ish to us.
Yeah.
So bear with us. If you're just getting into this, then we're probably the one for you, and we'll keep you updated. Because we'll have our growing pains as well. Well,
right.
Even we had to take a short break. With a technical issue. But we're not experts, and you don't. I advise, like, I watch a lot of. I subscribe to a lot of YouTube channels, and like I said, we read a lot of books and stuff on this stuff. But yeah, by experts, we're not experts at anything.
No. Well, I'm okay at jiu-jitsu.
There is that. He is a black belt.
So 2 is none. Two is one. One is none. Lighters. I brought 2 lighters along,
for sure.
just because you definitely need to be able to start a fire.
And I'll probably see if I can talk him into taking some kind of old school flint technology as well.
Well, I am pretty sure I can start a fire with a bow and stick. I haven't done it for a really long time, but I have successfully done that before. So I think it can be done, but it's been a while. Let's see. Other little things. I just brought along a couple of fork spoons.
Sporks.
Spork spoons. Yep, those are nice. Some Deep Woods Off. These are just towelettes. What are they? They're 25% DEET. A lot smaller than carrying around a big jug of it.
True.
And man, I'm not really very fond of being bit by mosquitoes, even though I live in this state.
Doesn't like the cold. Hates mosquitoes.
I don't even know what I'm doing here.
Get you out of here.
One of the most important things, and I really should have 2 of them, is a Sharpie. It comes up all the time in the books I'm reading about how often you need to leave somebody a message somewhere, and having a Sharpie is super important because you don't want to have to write it in your own blood. So,
or your lipstick.
or your lipstick, which I didn't bring any lipstick.
Yet. Doesn't take up much space.
So I also have my Cold Steel Tonto, a knife.
That thing is so cool.
This is a very nice knife. any knife is having a knife is important. This is a very nice knife. I've had it for a really long time. I got it from my good buddy Tharg back in the day. This knife is pretty famous because you can actually you can shove it through a door, and they it's just a very nice knife. It's razor sharp, and and it's a big old tactical Tonto.
And solid. What's the? I'm forgetting the word. Tang.
Yeah, it's a full tang. The back of it is for you can smash out a window with it, But some kind of knife I think is super important for your get home bag. And again, for redundancy, obviously I always carry my Leatherman, which it just never leaves my side. Has a knife, has a pliers, has a bottle opener, which you might or might not need. And then obviously some cash is nice. As much as you can afford to bring. I'm bringing $1,000, which is $776 more than I could afford to bring. But credit card machines going down is a pretty realistic possibility. Even if that could be just something as simple as a long power outage, a 4-day power outage or something like that, and nobody's taking credit cards. That makes things pretty difficult to just operate. Cash is king in a survival situation, so I'm bringing along $1,000 in cash, which is
unless it's convenient for you to figure out how much gold and
So we talked a little bit
silver
about
and gold and stuff. Precious metals sound good, but man,
So I was thinking about that because we talked a little bit about that so it's like, okay, so let's say I did get some gold coins to bring along. Now I'm going to a gas station and I need to fill up my gas. They don't take credit cards anymore. I have to negotiate gold with this person that is standing at the till. Is that a realistic possibility? I think gold would come into play farther down the line.
Further down the road, indeed.
It's not the get home thing. Hopefully I can get home before the entire collapse happens.
Yeah. Your average gas station attendant may or may not be well versed in using precious metals.
I'm not even well versed in it. I don't know how much gold I'm supposed to give up for a tank full of gas.
I would have no idea. I'd be like, so, and to make it worse, I played Dungeons and Dragons for years, so I would totally abuse it. I'd be like, yes, 6 gold coins for that tank of gas, absolutely. If you play D&D, if you're a gamer, you know what I'm talking about.
And then everything else that I brought along is pretty much just first aid stuff. So I have some hand sanitizer wipes, which I'm totally addicted to. I use those things crazy. Sunblock, super important. I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm a little balding.
We're follically challenged here.
I'm balding. That's the understatement of the century. But yeah, especially in the California sun, I don't ever use sunblock. I like being sunburned. But there's a difference between being sunburned and having your skin cooked off by yeah. So sunblock's important. I got this
that Israeli style bandage.
Israeli style bandage / tourniquet. Super important. I need to read the directions on doing this. I actually did go through a class a while ago where we did tourniquets and a bunch of other stuff, but I'm going to have to refresh myself on this.
Quick, 45-second tutorial on YouTube.
That's what I'm going to do. Quick 45-second tutorial on YouTube. And I just got a bunch of aspirin, bandages, all the regular stuff. But 2 things in here that I thought were worth pointing out. One of them is moleskin.
Huge.
Had no idea what it was.
We just talked about this the other day.
So Kyle messages me and he said, "Oh, one thing you need to get in your first aid kit is moleskin." And I was like, I don't even know where to find a mole. What are we talking about? Yeah, apparently it is for protecting yourself from blisters or putting on blisters for using it for.
Used to use it in football all the time. You're developing a little blister in your cleats. A tiny little chunk of moleskin will save you a lot of discomfort and save that blister from becoming a big festering mess.
Yeah, which apparently is super important if you're going to walk a great distance. And then this is my favorite thing in the entire kit is this. What is it? Was that Styptic
Styptic
powder? This is Quick Clog. So if you get a cut, you pour this on it, and it clogs the cut up. This is the canine version, which you can get at
It's
PetSmart.
always cheaper.
Which, well, you can't get. I can't find it in human version. They don't sell it at stores. But the canine version you can get at PetSmart.
Gotta order it
and
on
I was like, oh, sweet, helps stop bleeding. It's like, yeah, it's the kind of thing that, like, in the army or whatever they would use. If cover it up, and then they pour it on there and compress it. And I was like, sweet. So I got a thing.
There's
of that.
some fantastic lists. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about some of the sites out there. Like the best, the bar none best prepper site that I've ever been on is theprepared.com, and they've got great lists for like putting together your like your first aid kit and stuff. And I'm not gonna lie, you put together a pretty damn good first aid kit.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I worked pretty hard on it, and it's tough because you can take up a lot of space with bandages and wraps and so on and so forth. So you're trying to get it down to the bare minimum, what you actually need, and what you can live without. A lot of things can be like it's most important to cover the actual wound, and then you can wrap it with whatever you have, whatever you need to wrap it with, whatever you can salvage. But yeah, that's definitely the important part.
And there's that what is it, like pack truck house principle.
I don't know.
Which
I'm unfamiliar with that.
this is pack. Like this is everything reduced down to like just an easy
Yes.
carrying.
Yes.
And then you've got a much more advanced setup like in your vehicle.
Yes.
And then you've got a much more advanced setup in your house, and that's kind of a good.
Yes, that's a good point, because I have this is my get home bag, which I've tried to condense down to as small of a carry as I can.
Should you have to take off?
Should
on
I have
foot.
to take off right now?
Yep.
But then I'm also going to be bringing along my camping gear, right, which is a much more comprehensive pack.
And whatever self-defense devices you are able to
So
legally carry.
obviously, something we didn't cover in this that is such a personal choice, and the legality issues change from state to state. But if you are inclined to carry a firearm, obviously that's another thing that would more than likely you'd want to put in your get home bag, depending on your situation.
And we mentioned being progressives generally, but don't let that fool you. We are.
Well, we're gun-toting liberals.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's something to think about too. Though it is really important to keep in mind that depending on where you're traveling, I have my permit to carry in Minnesota, but that doesn't translate to having my permit to carry anywhere in the country, which is really unfortunate. I wish at some point they'd come out with a federal carry, and I would jump through whatever hoops needed to be jumped through to get that.
That would be convenient.
But I think the likelihood of that is right around zero.
Yeah, nil.
Right around nil. So, anything I'm missing, Kyle? There's two things on my list that I've yet to get. One of them is maps, actual paper maps.
We talked about this earlier.
Talked about this earlier. It's tough. I just can't go to a gas station right now and buy a map for Ohio, So my plan is to acquire the maps along the way of each state so that I have a fairly comprehensive map. And eventually, in my travels, hopefully, I will collect all of the maps that I need. And then there was one other thing I had on my list that I was going to put on there. Very important, and I just didn't get it yet. I ordered some liquid IV. Which is all that is an additive that you add to water that has electrolytes, potassium, carbohydrates, and that just makes the water that you drink absorb into your body a lot quicker. Sodium as well, and that's really important.
And there's a lot of mixes out there that you can purchase if you don't get that. If you don't get your order in by the time you take off.
Yeah, I did see that there are some.
Even like Gatorade pouches and stuff like that.
Pouches, yeah. But you want to do it as pouches. You don't want to carry around Gatorade in your backpack. The idea is you're trying to shrink it down to the minimum. Also, one thing that you may have noticed that I didn't carry, and in a lot of these lists, they do have like carrying water with you, and I just
Water
doesn't
is heavy.
seem like a good use of weight because water's heavy, right? And the likelihood if something were to happen, there's going to be water accessible at least at first, right?
Yeah.
Even if it's the water in the back of a toilet in a restroom, it's still potable water.
Yeah. And I mean, at the
And I have a life.
at the onset of an emergency, you'll have a lot of water in the car.
Yep, that's when you
So
get
you'll be
it.
carrying, like if the car is disabled for some reason, then you'll be carrying water with you. But for the purposes of this exercise, we didn't really need to show you water. Water's important.
Right, but I'm also not carrying 2 gallons of water in my pack.
Yeah.
And I'm not using a camel pack, and I'm not doing any of those things. Just because to me, it just didn't make sense weight-wise. So I think that's about it.
All right. So I know this is pretty unpolished. This is our first outing. If you like what we do, if you want to support the show, give us a like, give us a share, subscribe. Ideally, subscribe. Tell your friends.
Yeah, for sure. And in the comments or hit us up on our Facebook page, Spitballing Podcast. We're always open to suggestions if you want to learn anything else or you want us to go down any other directions. We're more than happy
if
to
you
do
have
it.
a suggestion, if you have something that you know a lot about that you'd like us to share, like us to cover, by all means, we're kind of we're neophytes in this world as well. We're all in this together.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys very much for tuning in, and we will see you guys next time on Progressive Preppers.
I got the blues so bad one time it put my face in a permanent frown. I'm feeling so much better I could cakewalk into town. I woke up this morning feeling so good, I laid back down again. Throw your big leg over me, mama, I just might not feel this good again. My baby, oh my baby, I love the way she walks. When my girl gets sleepy, I love the way she baby talks. My work done got scarce, honey, all my work, it done got hard. I spent the whole day stealing chickens, mama, from the rich folks' yard. I got the blues so bad one time it put my face in a permanent frown. Now I'm feeling so much better I could cakewalk into town. I wanna go on a picnic in the country, mama, and stay all day. I don't care if I don't do nothing, just while my time away. I got the blues so bad one time it put my face in a permanent frown. I'm feeling so much better I could cakewalk into town.